Recognize what I'm playing? It's part of a Beatles B-side. Now, I realize that most of my viewers will know exactly what a B-side is. But if you're not sure, think back to a time before streaming, before downloads, even before CDs and cassettes and 8-tracks. Music came on something called a vinyl record, a flat disc that you placed on a turntable. Now, I realize that many of you might be saying, oh, come on, now we already knew that. But you can't assume anything these days. There just might be some of my viewers who are not quite sure when I'm talking about things like a 45. What is that? What's a B-side? So anyway, you got this little vinyl disc, smaller than an LP, called it a 45. It had a bigger hole in the center. And so in order to play it, you had to use this little gadget with a very practical and slightly clunky name. It was called a 45 adapter, or sometimes it was called a spindle adapter. Most record players had a small spindle designed for LPs. So you needed that adapter to fit into the big hole of the 45, and that let the record sit properly on the turntable and keep it centered so that it played properly, that it played correctly. Now, you know, when we were kids in the 60s, we used to have fun putting on a 45 without the adapter and put it on a little bit crooked so that the music would kind of go something like that. A 45 had two sides, of course, A and B. The A side was the main song, the single. This was the one the artist and the record company believed would be the big hit. This was the song they sent to radio stations, the one that they hoped everyone would end up humming and going out and buying a copy of the 45. The B-side was the song on the other side of the record, obviously. Now, at first, it was often thought of as like a bonus track, something extra. But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes those extra songs, they turned out to be just as good or even better than the A-side. The Beatles were famous for this, by the way. For example, one of their singles, the A-side, was Help. Everybody knows that song. But the B-side was I'm Down, which also became a big favorite and a great concert number, by the way. A completely different kind of song from Help, raw, energetic. And, of course, there are many stories of radio DJs who would flip a 45 over and play the B-side instead of the A-side, and suddenly that became the hit. But anyway, getting back to the Beatles, what I'd like to do in this video is I'm going to share with you my top 5 Beatles B-sides. And at the end of this video, I'd love for you to share your top 5 or however many Beatles B-sides that you love. Now, there is a challenge in doing this. As you Beatles fans know, they released different singles in different countries, so the official B-sides vary slightly depending on the market. However, there is a generally accepted list of B-sides, the canon, if you like, and you can get that list if you only look at the UK singles. So, here's my top 5. Ask Me Why is number 5. This was the B-side of Love Me Do in 1962, and this song was greatly influenced by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. And the things that I like about this B-side, it has an interesting chord progression and that marvelous 3-part Beatle harmony. By the way, I'll leave links to these songs in the description so you can go and listen to them, since I can't really play the recordings here on YouTube for copyright reasons. So that's my number 5. But coming in at number 4 is This Boy. This was the one I played a snippet of at the beginning of this video. You probably already knew that if you're a Beatles fan. It was first released as the B-side to I Want to Hold Your Hand. And of course, this is another Lennon and McCartney song. And they wrote this one as an exercise, once again, in three-part harmony. I just love the Beatles' three-part harmony stuff. As according to John Lennon, this song was also inspired by Smokey Robinson. And the song grew notable attention, actually from the Times newspaper's music critic, a fellow by the name of William Mann. I love this quote. I found this on the website, The Beatles Bible. It describes this as a famously florid article on Lennon and McCartney's songwriting, published on December 27th, 1963. So here's what this fellow wrote. The slow, sad song about this boy, which features prominently in Beatle programs, is expressively unusual for its lugubrious music, but harmonically, it is one of their most intriguing. With its chains of pandiatonic clusters, I'm sure Lennon and McCartney didn't know what those were, and the sentiment is acceptable because voiced cleanly and crisply. Yikes. You kind of wonder if they ever got to read those type of reviews. My number 3 Beatles B-side is The Inner Light, with lyrics based on the Taoist Guide to Living. Anyway, The Inner Light is a George Harrison song, and it was first released as the B-side of Lady Madonna. Harrison has 3 Beatles songs that are influenced by Indian music: The Inner Light, Love You Too, and Within You, Without You. Now, of those 3, I like this one the best because the instrumentation is the most purely Indian, if you like. And in fact, none of the Beatles actually play any instruments on this one. And for example, Within You, Without You also has Western-style string sections blending in with the Indian instruments. Very well done, but it's not pure Indian music, if you like. Anyway, also I like the alternating instrumental and sung interludes, and there's a brief bit at the end where Lennon and McCartney add some backing vocals. My number 2 Beatles B-side is Don't Let Me Down. Now, along with the song I Want You, She's So Heavy from the Abbey Road album, Don't Let Me Down was lyrically simple and emotionally intense. And these songs were inspired by Lennon's infatuation with Yoko Ono. Don't Let Me Down was released as the B-side of the single Get Back. Like Get Back, this song was credited to the Beatles with Billy Preston. And it's Preston's keyboard work on these songs that make them, well, his keyboard work is my favorite thing about these songs. Well, naturally. But what stands out to me about this song, it contains what one musical commenter referred to as an alternate verse section. It's where Lennon sings, I'm in love for the first time. And that section contains this unique counterpoint melody played in octaves by the bass and the lead guitars. And it's one of the most unusual instrumental touches that you'll find in any Beatles song. So I would encourage you, go listen to that song. And when it gets to that section, you'll hear Lennon sing one melody and the guitars and the bass are playing another melody. There's also some typical Lennon uneven phrasing when he sings, nobody ever loved me like she does. There's an extra bar in there, which is something Lennon liked to do. There's also a very limited number of chords in this song. Some Beatles songs use 12, 15 chords. This one has maybe 4. The 1, the 2, the 5, and hints of the 4 chord. So in the key of E major, you've got E, F sharp, minor, B, and then maybe the D in there a little bit. Basically, it's harmonic frugality. My number 1 B-side is Rain. taken from the single Paperback Writer, is the B-side. And this is considered by many Beatles fans to be their finest B-side. And the thing about this song is it has a little bit of everything. There are studio tricks involved. They recorded the rhythm track of Rain at a faster tempo. It was in, like, I think, the key of A. And then they slowed the tape down so that the song was in the key of G. And then Lennon's lyrics. Can you hear me? That when it rains and shines, it's just a state of mind. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Typical Lennon-type lyrics. And here's a quote from thebeatlesbible.com. Much like Revolver's I'm Only Sleeping, Rain found the Beatles exploring LSD-influenced feelings of detachment from the real world and the belief that heightened consciousness can be found within the self. Song also contains one of Ringo's greatest drum parts. Even he himself considered it one of his best drum parts, and an amazing McCartney bass part featuring some high notes that are locked in with Ringo's drums. Tremendous band playing and more three-part harmony that was created by McCartney and Harrison's backing vocals. Song also has some unique chords that it almost seems like it's blending two chords together. And then there's Lennon's backwards vocals, which you hear during the coda of the song, near the end of the song. Now, John Lennon claimed that he discovered these backward vocals as a result of, well, there was an accident when he was kind of stoned, and he threaded his rough mixtape of the song into his reel-to-reel player the wrong way around. Now, George Martin, their producer, he recalled the discovery as being his. And I found this quote again on the Beatles Bible website. And you have to imagine this quote in George Martin's rather posh English accent, which I am not about to attempt. But just imagine him saying, well, apparently this is what he said. I was always playing around with tapes, and I thought it might be fun to do something extra with John's voice. So I lifted a bit of his main vocal off the 4-track, put it on to another spool, turned it around, and then slid it back and forth until it fitted. John was out at the time, but when he came back, he was amazed. It was backwards forever after that. There's a lot more I could say about this, my number one Beatles B-side, but basically this is the one that I listen to the most often. And what I do when I listen to it is I concentrate on one aspect each time. I'll pay attention to the bass. I'll pay attention to the chords, the lyrics, the background vocals, the drums. So there's something different to concentrate on each time. The Beatles B-sides were certainly not throwaway songs, and they have become the favorite songs of countless Beatles fans, including me. Now, I'm asking you, what is your top 5 Beatles B-sides? Leave those for me in the comments below. Now, I've included in the video description a list of their UK single B-sides. And this list is generally considered the canonical list. So I've left that list there in the description to help you. I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That helps YouTube send this out to more music lovers like you. If you'd like to support my work, you can buy me a coffee. The link for that is in the description. I appreciate so much those of you who have, as it were, tipped your creator in that way. I really appreciate it. And also those of you who have become patrons of the channel, you can go to my Patreon page. That too is linked in the description. Well, this was a fun video to do, and we'll get back to some more instructional stuff in later videos. But for now, thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.